I've been all over this town, but every school in town, I think.
Yeah.
Because we used to move a lot.
Yeah.
Because Dad died when I was only 11.
Right.
And consequently, then I was just pillar to post for a long time,
Right.
Yeah, in fact, I lived where the old Columbus Auditorium was. There used to be apartments on that south of that, and I'd lived in some of those apartments there even. So I've been all over the west side also.
Right. What do you think of the way it looks now today? It's so different.
Well,
so different. You probably couldn't recognize it as being the same
place.
No.
Yeah.
Because
those
now
things really change a lot.
Yeah, that's Bicentennial Park and new apartment.
Yeah. See, a lot of good stuff's coming. Now, if it's casino helps that west side, it'll be nice. But a lot of times they don't really. It doesn't mature, but it might.
Right.
There's still not as many damn killings as.
Yeah.
There's still every day.
Yeah.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
You say, what? Every time I watch that news, you say, well, they found this dead guy. There's 2 of them in the garage.
Right.
Always.
Or someone walks out of their house.
They just shoot one another. They don't, because of all this dope crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad.
I told Boo, I said, we're safe here.
Yeah. This
is the safest place you can be. We got good neighbors. And everything's working fine.
Yeah.
Southern Theater was at Main and High. And the kids would go out and pass out literature for advertisement for the theater, and you get in free. Or they would show you 3 shows for 10 cents on Saturday. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
How about the Knickerbocker?
And the Knickerbocker was also down there.
Where was that? Was it near the Southern Theater?
Yeah.
You can't scratch your nose in the movie.
Yeah. I don't scratch your nose.
Okay. Continue.
Kids spent most of their time there. Then at Main and High, we used to get the best bean soup.
Nice. Kids would go for bean soup.
Yeah.
Bean soup in a movie.
Yeah.
Times are a little bit different now.
Yeah. Then we had the old Columbus Auditorium at Front and Town.
Yeah.
I used to work in there. We set up circuses.
Wow.
And I worked for Archie Turner, and then they also had a wrestling match at Goodale High. It was Al's Half Acre.
Nice.
And the guy's name was Al Half.
Al Half.
Yeah, but it was only a half acre. So, and the kids, the Italian kids, the black kids, they had all the way around, had a big fence, had a lot of billboards on it all the way around Al's Half Acre. And I'd be in there setting up for the next event, and they would have fights. I could get up on top and watch them. And these little Italian guys were tough, man. They used to beat the tar out of everybody.
Huh.
I used to watch them. I said, man.
So Flytown.
That was Flytown, yeah.
Flytown.
Goodale was Flytown. That was, yeah. It was a fun thing.
Tell me more about setting up for the circus.
Well, the circus, well, then we had roller derby.
Okay.
And we had...
There's still roller derby in town.
Yeah.
There's a roller derby team here in town now.
And that was cool. The roller derby was great because, they had all they would really get vicious with one another.
Was it men or women? Because today it's a women's team. Yeah, women's team.
Yeah, that was fun.
Wrestling match. The wrestling match.
Oh, wrestling! They had wrestling there too every week.
Yeah,
maybe 1 or 2 times.
Wow.
They had every kind of an event you could think of.
Right. And it was weekly, every week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I even helped put a roof on that thing. Wow. That's where the old Lazarus built their annex.
Okay. Yeah.
that was the old Columbus Auditorium. They tore it down and built this annex.
Right.
Uh,
Do you think there's anything that compares to that today?
no.
I don't think so either. I can't
No.
think of anything that compares to that.
Uh-uh.
No kind of gathering where people do anything.
No.
Maybe the gallery hop, but it's not the same thing.
No.
That's right, it was all like
But this is a whole
Yeah.
new day and age, and things have changed.
Yeah.
And you just got to go with the change. I think everything is going different.
It sounds great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Nice. $870?
That's all Dad referred to. No,
Beer?
Daddy just called it 870
$870.
North High. It was a billiard hall, not a beer joint. Dad did not have beer.
Okay.
It was pop and hot dogs, coffee, hamburgers,
Oh, okay.
and then pool. But at night, when it was supposed to be closed, they would have men come in and play poker in the back room, which was against the law. Another thing against the law was having children run a pool room. I was one of them, and my sister Dorothy.
Huh.
Daddy had a friend that came over here from the old country or Lebanon, and he would sell or spot pinball machines. And you were not supposed to pay out for that, but they did. But anyway, in order to get this man started in business, Dad would leave Dorothy and I at the pool room, and he would take this man around town to meet friends he had in order to place his pinball machines. So one day, when Dorothy and I were there, I bet she was about 10 or 12 and I was probably 14 or 15. What they called in those days a vice squad. Well-dressed men and women, whom we assumed were just out on a date, came to the pool room and said, "Who's running this place?" Of course, I spoke right up, "I am."
And you were how old?
About 14, maybe.
14.
And they said, "Well, where's the owner?" I said, "What's my dad? He's out right now, but he'll be back." "Well, you're underage. You should not be running the pool hall." So anyway, Daddy finally shows up. The man says, "You got to come down to the police station." I thought, "Oh God, I'm going to jail." So Dad gets ready, goes to the police station, and he walks in the room where this captain is, or sheriff. He says, "Here's a cigar." The man said, "Now, Pete, the cigar's not going to help you this time." So Dad must have known these guys, and he must have been in trouble before. He
Yeah.
could just hand out cigars. So he said, "I want to know about these children in the pool room." Dad said, "Well, they're not really in the pool room. They're in the restaurant, the front part where we have hot dogs, hamburgers,
Yeah.
and there's a partition,
Right.
which, was a short fence about this high,
Right.
separating the pool hall from the restaurant." So he said, "Well, I'm going to come up there and see that, Pete. Better be what you said it is." That's, "Oh, yeah, it is." Anyway, a couple days later, he came up and he didn't say much and left. The next day, Dad had me and Dorothy go back down there and watch the pool room again. Of course, I hated that. Then later in life, when Dorothy grew up, she said, "Had you gone to jail, I would have got your job." Isn't that sweet?
They had Shiller Pop.
Schottensteins.
Yeah,
And they got wealthy.
Would this have been late 1940s, early 1950s?
Well, I was born in 30,
Okay.
so let's say 44, 45.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So Schottenstein became rich. They started the Schiller Pop Company.
Wow.
But we always loved to go there and get chocolate pop.
Yeah. Well, now I would think that while these poker games were going on, there had to be drinking going on with the poker games.
Unless they brought it, because Dad didn't have any.
Yeah, I would think they would. I mean,
Well,
nobody gathers in a back room to play poker without drinking or smoking.
Well, it was
or
the
something.
money then. It was a
Right.
nickel.
Yeah, I think the guys would.
They might have brought their beer.
They
They
probably
bring
brought
their
their-
beer in,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Now, he had a friend who played so many numbers,
Yeah.
named Steve. Steve finally went off his rocker. He would go in and say, "Give me 2 eggs and box them." Do you know the language of numbers? You play numbers straight or
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
In those days, again, that was against the law. but people would play the numbers. The numbers would be based on the numbers in the stock market.
Right.
It's usually just 3 numbers. But you could play the numbers straight, or if you boxed it, you paid a little extra, and you still, you know, it was a penny, nickel, and dime game then, but my mother played it.
Wow.
We had a neighbor in our alley behind the house, Eddie Tilburg. We would give him the money, and he would take it home to his grandma. She had the connection where, I don't know what she
Did you ever win big?
No.
And you're
But
still,
that was the beginning of the lottery
yeah, you're still playing.
system. I am still playing. That's what the casino is, and the lottery that finally passed in Ohio.
Yeah.
So it's all the same.
Were the arches still over High Street? Because remember, Columbus was called Arch City. Do you remember the arch,
You know,
the original
there might
arches
have
being
been-
over High
It
Street?
might have been down by what we called Ashball.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little confectionery. It was near the Northern Theater. I don't know whether the Northern's still standing.
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
But in those days, it was the Northern and the Garden. One was at Fifth and one was at Goodale.
Okay.
But there's a little candy store we called confectionery stores. We used to stop there and get the penny candy before we went into the Northern Theater.
Yeah.
We were talking about that yesterday. We wondered how fresh that stuff was when we were little. Because you would eat it in the dark in the theater, so you didn't know what you had.
Right.
But, you know, maybe the arch was there then. I can't quite remember.
Okay. Do you remember what movies you saw there? Any of
Well,
them?
yeah, back Tom Mix, Nyoka of the Jungle. And then we used to dress up like her at home and play on the back porch. She was a jungle girl. Would be similar to Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw Tarzan movies.
And were they serials?
Yes. Roy Rogers,
Uh-huh.
Dale Evans, Gene Autry.
Wow.
Oh, then scary movies like The Catwoman, The Mummy,
Nice.
The Vampire, the
Frankenstein.
Draculas,
Yeah.
Frankenstein. Now, little Teddy would say, how could the mummy kill so many people? Because he wouldn't walk very fast. He drug one leg, made one step, drug another leg. So how could he kill his people? That was funny.
He was always smart.
Yes.
Nice.
Voice recorder?
It's recording your voice right now.
Oh my goodness.
So-
Where do I put on my good voice?
No, you're good.
Bessie Elizabeth Thomas, 1930.
We were talking about Betty Jasper's relatives and my relatives, and we were talking about how, Betty had numerous siblings, but there were 2 that were close in particular. Several were close in particular. So Betty also had Helen and Dorothy, and all 3 had nicknames. So we knew Betty as Aunt Boo or Booby. We knew Helen, everyone called her Hotsy, and Dorothy they called Dot. And we're trying to figure out where those came from. Were they always those nicknames, or did it just pop up one day?
I think because when children were very young, they couldn't pronounce the name.
Right.
So instead of Betty Lou, it came out to be Booby
Right.
or Boo. And I don't know how Helen came to be Hotsy.
Hotsy.
Helen became Hotsy. I can't understand that.
Well, we kind of think we have our own thing. We think Helen was the kind of fast, wild one. That's
Well,
like
you're
that
probably
name,
right.
Hotsy. She was probably causing trouble out when you went out.
You know you're probably right. You're probably right.
We like to
She
think
was
that.
So different, political. She was an activist.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
She moved to California. She
Yeah.
was the one in the family that was the rebel.
Oh yeah.
Did other family members have nicknames? Well, Grandma, we had. I don't ever remember her other than Grandma, but I know her name was Lillian.
She's Dorothy.
I know Alvy,
Leo Alvin.
Leo LaPointe Alvy. But it's funny that no others really had nicknames because they had names like Joe and Jim and George and John and Mary. Yeah.
And Lily. What are you up to, girl?
So then another thing we talked about, I asked you 20 years ago, the political climate right now, not only around the world but in our country, is just so divisive and frustrating and angering. And I asked you, has it always been like that? since your lifetime, or are we just more aware of it because we have better television and computers and access to information? So sometimes when you see things more, like on TV and the internet, it just seems worse, or is it worse? And you 20 years ago said you thought it was worse. That
I still do.
Yeah, okay.
Even worse. More worse. Not worser, but more worse.
More worse.
Is that proper English?
It's close enough. Do you feel like you've lived through a lot of presidents and you've lived through Watergate and a lot of scandals? Do you feel there's other things that compare? Or see, I personally, being much younger, feel like what we're going through right now with our presidency and our democracy is horrific. It's just terrible and frightening. But I don't have the longer life that you've had. Were there other times when you felt like during McCarthyism or communism, Cuba, things like that?
Well, we were afraid the communists might come, so we were taught to keep a few groceries in the basement, keep some kind of shelter we would get under our pool table for shelter. But that all passed.
Because of the nuclear scare.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the schools you got under your desk.
Right.
Or I might have told you that.
No, I didn't. You didn't tell me that. That's and we look back on that and we think, what would that have done anyway if there was a nuclear bomb?
How true.
Yeah. Like even today, we think that there's not going to be a whole lot of protection. But that's interesting. They would put us under our desks and stuff for tornado drills, but we didn't have nuclear or war drills. Yeah, when I was younger.
That's right, Michael. Everybody had to shield themselves.
Right. Interesting.
Once upon a time, Dad left his car out front by the curb running, and I thought I was smart enough to drive. Did I tell you that?
No.
Dorothy and I got in Dad's car. And all we did was drive the space of a car around the alley.
Yeah.
And we hit a guy's bumper and knocked it off. So I said, Dorothy, go home and get Dad. Daddy comes out. By the time Daddy got out, a police cruiser was coming up to drive. And Daddy says, I'm taking care of this. He had a deputy sheriff badge.
Right.
So I'm taking care of this one. And Pete says, okay, Pete. He must have known all the cops. I don't know why.
Right.
Unless he was some sort of a mafia. My dad might have bought all the cops.
Well, now I've heard that before. Like, I mean, all joking aside, is there any legitimacy to that? I mean, there's a pool hall. There's living in the city. There's friendliness with, law enforcement. Was there pay going on, or did they just like him?
He didn't have money.
Right.
He had a nickel for cigars, about it. He
Right.
did not have money.
So he wasn't paying anyone off. There's no way. Yeah.
I don't know how he supported our family.
Yeah, I think about that too, because I know you didn't live in a large house. You said you had one used car. You had a huge family. How did that?
Well, I think what he did, he never took the family to rent. He took one boy.
Oh,
And got the man to rent to him.
right,
Once upon a time, we actually lived in the house of the renter.
right.
He had one room upstairs and we had all the other.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the rented us lived there.
How did you feel about that?
Well, we put a little butter knife between the door to arch it
Yeah.
to keep it shut so he couldn't come in the bathroom.
Oh, that's important.
He never bothered us.
I've been down past that house. It's very different. I was pointed out by other family members which house it is.
I'll be damned.
So that neighborhood is now the Short North Italian Village area.
Sure.
And it's very, very, a very
Expensive.
elite, expensive neighborhood. And that house is still there, but it's been renovated and added onto. It's beautiful, but I think about what it must have been like the original small house with a large family living down there. And I've heard there were people would butcher their own animals.
Daddy tried to do a sheep,
Oh, wow.
but I wasn't there, and thank God I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
We lived wait a minute. The landlord at that house lived next door was a double. It was Annabelle Rumandella. She used to borrow our ice chips and hairpins. She was the owner, but she had to borrow ice and hairpins.
What? But you had to go buy ice, right?
The man came to your door with the...
Okay, right. They would deliver it. But she would borrow yours.
Yes.
Was there a payback?
No.
No, of course not. No. Didn't she know that you had enough? You had this huge family, and
She
she's
didn't give a damn.
borrowing your ice chips.
And
Well,
hairpins.
and hairpins. Oh my God.
Yeah, Annabelle Rumandella. One of Daddy's friends named Steve used to play a lot, and he would say, give me 2 eggs in boxing. He played numbers. In those days, you could play the numbers. Was not legal, but
Right.
what you tried to do was you just tried to pick the last 3 numbers on the stock exchange. That would be the winning numbers. You play for a penny or 10 cents or nickel.
Right.
We never won big, but we never got arrested for that.
But-
Now it's in the lottery.
Right. They started you early.
Yeah. Mrs. Van Tilbury would live near our house. We cut short through an alley and give her 6 cents to play the numbers for you.
What did anyone ever win?
We went a few times.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
That's exciting. Wow. Things have changed.
Later on, it became a lottery.
Right. So
We started it
you
all.
started the lottery.
That's absolutely.
You may have started gambling and the lottery.
Right.
There was something else I asked you 20 years ago, and we talked about technology. So I asked Grandmother Thomas, what is the single most best advancement in technology in your lifetime? And she said the microwave oven. I thought she might have said a washing machine or something like that, or a color television. She said no, the microwave oven. And she said, with 13 children and all the cooking I had to do all my life, that was the greatest thing I ever saw invented. I've learned how to just make something quick.
I did not know she did that.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because I
Yes.
never really knew her to use the microwave a lot, even when she was around. But she thought the microwave oven was the greatest invention in her lifetime. Do you have one that you feel that's just like amazing to you, or you feel like it's something you really love that we have now that maybe you didn't have when you were a child or a teenager or a young
Well,
adult?
my biggest thanks for what we have is a car.
Yeah, right.
Above all the other stuff, the car.
Yeah,
Secondly, the dishwasher.
dishwasher. Well, the car I can expect because I know you rode a lot of streetcars and buses and had a large family. Did you all have one car in your family?
One car. Model T Ford.
Interesting.
Didn't always run, but
Was it new?
no.
A used car?
A black car we kept in our little garage.
Oh,
but
nice.
My dad drove it around. We were afraid to ride with Dad because he was against all other cars on the road. Get out of the way, get out
Right.
of the way.
That sounds like everybody's father. That is really hysterical. Okay, so let's pause for one moment.